Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Chet here again from Avion Technology here in the Chicagoland area. We are a agency that works with other agencies to help scale them up, turn them around, become profitable. We also work with a lot of small businesses to enhance their digital presence. This week, this is a part of my series called Small Business Success, and the audience for today is other agencies and other restaurants as well. So, in my past two videos, I discussed a couple of good websites that I like, restaurant websites that I like. Today I'm going to discuss about must-have functionality within a restaurant's website. All right. So number one, menu, no-brainer, right? You need to have your menu online, unless you're such a super fine dining restaurant and you fear that your competitors are going to take away business from you. You definitely need to have your menu on your website. Number two, and I'm going to go through a lot of these really quickly because I have noticed that if my videos go over 7 minutes, folks don't like it. Everyone's attention span is 7 minutes, so I'm going to keep this short. Second is social proof, right? All the awards that you've won, all the Michelin stars that you have, your Yelp reviews, your Google reviews. But this is extremely important. It's important in any business, especially in services business, but the restaurant business is one of those places where social proof is extremely important, because no one wants to be the first person to try out anything, right? We don't want to be the first person to go to a party. We want to be the 20th person to go to the party, right? So social proof is extremely important. Number three, online reservations, very important. And there's a lot of apps that do this for you, so you just have to integrate those apps. And Open Table is one of those. So you just have to integrate those apps within your website, and we can do that for you. But online reservations, extremely important. If you have a restaurant and if you don't have a website, very bad. If you have a website, if you have a restaurant and if you have a website but you don't do online reservations, still doesn't make the cut. You definitely need to have online reservations. Next is online ordering. Again, post-pandemic, a lot of people working from home, and eating out is a trend that's just increasing by the year. So definitely need to have online ordering. Again, there's a lot of apps that do this for you, so you just need to integrate those apps. Uber Eats, for example, you just need to integrate those apps within your website. But this is something. So the restaurant business is a cutthroat business. I've actually worked in a restaurant when I was in college. I worked there for a couple of years, so I know how cutthroat it is. It's only folks within the outside of the restaurant business who don't realize how margin intensive and cost competitive the business is. So for a restaurant, anything that brings in more revenue is always welcome. So you definitely need online reservations and you definitely need online ordering. Next thing, very important, have your location and your hours. Why? A lot of people are searching for you, even though you don't know about it. Most restaurants, most people will check out a restaurant's website before they go there. If you've not mentioned your location hours and your location and your hours, someone might assume that you're probably closed when you're open, or vice versa, right? Next, photo gallery. Especially I cannot emphasize this enough. Get a good photographer and get good shots of all the items in your menu. Get good shots of the location. Take a nice shower, go and get groomed, and get good shots of you and the crew. But definitely you need a photo gallery, and you need to showcase your crew, you need to showcase your location, you need to showcase your menu. At the end of the day, that's what sells. People buy from other people. So if you want to show the personality of your business, you need a photo gallery. Newsletter. This is a hit and miss. There's a lot of businesses for whom I actually advise that don't send out a newsletter, for a very fact that the golden rule of a newsletter, there's two rules for a newsletter. Number one, you cannot sell in a newsletter. So the newsletter only can be informative, number one. But number two is it has to be regular. So if you do plan to send a newsletter, make sure you send it out every month. Do not send it out 1 month and then not send it for like 4 months and then again send it. Right? That creates a very bad impression. So make sure you're extremely consistent and regular about sending newsletters, number one. And then number two, make sure that it is informative, make sure it's engaging, but don't directly sell through a newsletter. So I've seen restaurants actually do really well when it comes to newsletters, because they can talk about a lot of stuff, right? They can talk about some dish, or they can talk about a wine pairing, they can talk about a new dessert. There's a lot of stuff that they can talk about. And people like those kind of newsletters. My industry newsletters tend to be boring. Accounting newsletters tend to be very boring, but the restaurant industry newsletters tend to be interesting. So you definitely need a newsletter section. Social media again goes with social proof. Instagram, if you are a restaurant owner, you have to be on Instagram. Definitely need social media, you definitely need social media marketing for your business, and you need all those channels in your website. Next is events and promotions. All restaurants have events, all restaurants have promotions going on. Please have them on your website. This is again a no-brainer. This goes again back to having these extra sources of revenue for your restaurant. Restaurants constantly struggle with revenue, and if you are not pulling in the patrons, the customers, someone else's, so you absolutely need events and promotions. The last is extremely important, accessibility. And I'm not talking about just ADA, like Americans with Disabilities Act. I'm talking about responsiveness. You can do all of this, but if your website is not responsive, if it doesn't showcase across different browsers, doesn't work across devices, it's useless. So make sure your website is responsive. Make sure your website works for folks with disabilities, because your website needs to have ADA compliance as well. But if you have most of these things, you will have a website that works really well for a restaurant. And the only thing missing from this then is SEO, which is it's online marketing, right? And that's what I'm going to cover in my next video, is practical DIY things that you can do as a small restaurant business owner to make sure your website and your restaurant business gets visibility. So here it goes. The key takeaway from this is, if you have a restaurant, you should have a website, and if you have a website, it should have all these different functionality. Your next patron, your customers are going to check out your website first before they come to your establishment. So make sure your website reflects what you're all about. Thank you so much. If you like the content, press like. If you want to subscribe, press subscribe. And if you want to give me a shout, here are my coordinates. Avion Technology here in the Chicagoland area. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.